I might address the question to you, Michael. We've seen an enormous growth in self-managed super funds in Australia, and the advisor industry that supports that and profits from that. And so it was interesting to hear sort of the talk potential of the expansion to more of the financial services space. But do you think that part of the superannuation sector is regulated enough? And do you think people who are looking to self-manage, and it seems to me that the recommended threshold keeps getting lower and lower and lower as when you should start looking at doing it, do you think people are equipped and educated well enough and supported well enough to manage their own self-managed super funds, the broader Australian population?
At the moment, John, they account for about a third of the $2 trillion industry and growing. There's about 589,000 self-managed super funds, and there's been a growth of about 30,000 of those in the last 12 months. For the most part, I think people do know what they're doing. But like in every part of any sector, there are people that have been encouraged to go there for perhaps the wrong reasons. All of our research says that people like a self-managed super fund because of the control, the ability to have a hands-on levers, and this belief often that is promulgated sometimes by the press or elsewhere that I can do better than the professionals. Well, sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. It's also sometimes a riskier path to go too. So look, I think it'll continue to grow. I think more and more you'll see there'll be an overlay of regulation on it, perhaps not as much as people might like, but there'll certainly be growth in that sector. Bearing in mind the Deloitte's and Cooper Review's projection on super means that by 2035 they think it'll be about $7 trillion. So that means that 1/3 will be a significant part of the sector. The only thing I'd say though is that I talked about unlisted assets and infrastructure and the like before, is generally they're not available for investment in the self-managed super fund area. And there's certain sectors appeal to people. They might like to invest in real property, that is property that relates to their own business. But many people keep it in cash because it is a demanding role. You need to have time to actually invest the money. And there is quite a thread of thought that I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, but it doesn't quite take place. So from that point of view, we do have a challenge, even though it's a large pool of assets, the average person in Australia doesn't have enough to retire on. There is a big shortfall there. My fund, which would be, as I said, made up of large cohorts of professional people such as teachers and nurses and so forth, have an average balance of 75,000. So the average balance right across, including master trusts and self-managed super, would be about 145,000. These are still small amounts of money when you talk about, so really the family home ends up playing a big part in people's retirement plans going forward.